Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships, and this game is one of mine, but it actually features a fairly rare sight. It's Circon playing warships. He's also pink, and I suspect that was entirely accidental. I don't think he managed to team damage somebody on purpose, but it's been far enough long enough ago that I can't exactly remember the circumstances. This game also features Yachty70 as well, who is one of my Patreon supporters, and he's a regular on the Patreon Spotlight series. So Circon's in the Arizona, Yachty is in the New Mexico, which is a favourite of his, and I'm in the Farragut, which is a relatively recent acquisition. I went through the Nicholas a long time ago and then just never quite got round to buying the Farragut. I had other priorities, but when I did finally get round to buying it, I was quite pleasantly surprised. It is a fun ship to play, and as you can see here, well, it's like, to hell with stealth, let's just shoot things, because it's an American destroyer after all. And in this case, what I'm shooting at is a division of 2 Minakazes and a Murmansk. And so potentially they can be quite dangerous. They are quite high priority targets. I've landed 1 or 2 hits already, but the thing with the American destroyers is they're like mini Clevelands. The shell travel time and the arc are quite significant, so trying to shoot other destroyers at anything other than closer ranges can get quite tricky. And this is one of the things that the Japanese, like, they don't fire nearly as fast, they don't have the turret traverse times, but the shells are a bit more comfortable to use. Whereas something like this, well, if you can smoke up and just fire at a battleship that's not manoeuvring terribly well, then most of your shells will probably go where you want. But if you're trying to hit a wildly manoeuvring destroyer at more than a couple of kilometers range, then that is going to be a slightly trickier proposition. However, if you can get up close and personal to somebody, the rate of fire and the ability to track targets with these guns makes it, yeah, it's really very good at dogfighting, as are most of the American destroyers. So we've taken C, we've got a lot of the team around here, and we are rather down on points. We've also lost 2 ships already, but this isn't necessarily disastrous. I mean, this is not the best start, but it's certainly not an automatic loss from this point by any means. That's just not how warships work. I mean, the difference between a failure and a success coming from this kind of state of the team is largely to do with how the team reacts. I mean, if we all just sailed around this cap point and didn't at that point push further onwards, then yeah, that would be a problem. And I have seen plenty of teams where that's happened, where everybody's just bunched up around one cap point in domination mode and they don't push and they invariably lose on points. However, if you take advantage of the fact that your team is all together, and hello torpedoes, and actually then make a concentrated push, then that can have completely the opposite effect. You can maybe end up panicking an enemy team because they are not expecting it, or you end up just sweeping up odds and ends of their team, at which point you end up with a numerical advantage. And yeah, it all depends on how people behave from this point. So the Murmansk was trying to support his buddies, one of whom has been taken out already. There is one still alive though, as well as Matsuki, who is all the way over there. Now that's got to be Murmansk torpedoes, although it might not be actually. It might be that, I think it's the Kamikaze that's left alive. And at this point I was debating whether to go around and chase the Murmansk, and then he takes a big hit from somebody, so never mind. He probably will get finished off before I can get shots on him, but if I can get some shots on him, it's only going to be 1 or 2 before he gets finished off. Yachty, meanwhile, is pushing B, but he doesn't have that much support. I think he was just getting concerned about the fact that there's still a bit of a gap in points, really, and sometimes in a battleship you have to do these things. You have to take the risk. You have to be aggressive and start pushing and hope that you'll get some support. Now Circon's making his way towards B as well, and there are some other ships that are vaguely heading in that direction, but Yachty is reasonably far ahead of everybody else there. Meanwhile, I've got a pair of cruisers that are following me, but they're a pair of Kirovs, so I can understand them not being too aggressive. I've just gotten the Kirov on the NA server myself, and I'm honestly not very impressed by it. The Svetlana was actually quite fun, and then you get to the Kirov, and yeah, I didn't like it when I was previewing it, and I don't really like it terribly much more now that I've actually got the thing, however many months it is later. I mean, when did the Soviet cruisers come out now? It's been a while. I mean, you know, you can't express it as a passage of time in months. It's just, it would obviously be, it would be more than a year's worth of months. But you can still say months. It's perfectly legitimate, goddammit. Anyway, Yachty's in trouble, and I probably, like, I dithered a bit because I was thinking of trying to tackle the Murmansk, and if I had instead stuck with Yachty, I possibly could have given him a smokescreen cover, although there is also still a Matsuki around here and that Kamikaze, and of course with smokescreens, just because you can obscure somebody from view doesn't make them impervious to torpedoes. There's every chance he would have died to torpedoes anyway, although I'm not sure if it was torpedoes or gunfire that got him. I missed the kill message there. So yeah, we really do need this cap point. Circon and some other people have turned up. There's a Congo that's gone all the way around the north edge of the island there for some reason. We've also got an Alba and a Budioni that are being chased down south. So we really do need this cap point. We need this as a focal area. And you know, if we can draw the enemy's attention in this direction and punish some of them at the same time, that would be quite useful. So, a bit of strategic use of smoke. I think this Fuso is going to be within torpedo range. I hope so. It'd be nice to get some torpedo hits in this game, because I've not done a lot of damage so far. We've also got, yes, there we go, torpedoes being fired into the smoke. And it's a big enough smoke circle, I guess they don't know where I am, that like it's just that they're having a harder time hitting me. So I thought I was going to get that Fuso kill. I got, what, 2 hits there? But somebody else just ninja'd the kill. So, still no kills, but I've got more damage at this point. So there's Circon. We've got the cap points. And the remaining enemies are to the south of us, really. I mean, we could just go and cap A, or we could turn and engage. And that's probably the more sensible thing to do at this point, because we've got the cap circle advantage. Well, because if we go and, what I mean is if we go and cap A, it'll, you know, divide our forces even further. But they do still have these pair of destroyers that are just sitting, pumping shells into the torpedoes into the cap. I'm the one that's pumping shells, but you know, out of the cap. So if I can get a fire on the Congo, that would be nice. I'm not the only one here, so it's a little bit risky opening fire at this kind of range without the cover of smoke. But there are times when you just have to take the risk and hope that people will fire at bigger, easier to hit targets than you, and those destroyers are actually the ones that are firing at me right now. So I saw one guy coming around here. This probably isn't going to work, but you never know. And oh, hello! I actually got that guy through fire damage. Nice. Okay, there we go. There's my first kill. There's the Kamikaze meanwhile, and sets of fire, but fortunately I have got my damage control party, so that's fine. These shots, I mean, I'm unlikely to hit him when he's maneuvering like that, but if nothing else, because of that quick reload, you can afford to just spray some shells around the place. It doesn't matter that much. Circon meanwhile absolutely wipes out that cruiser. I didn't catch what that was, but yeah, I think this is an old enough replay that it doesn't actually give the kill indicators. It just says who killed who. So it looks like the Matsuki is smoking up and maybe going to drop some torps, so I'm going to put my other lot of torps out. And at this point, I mean, yeah, we need to really tackle these destroyers. They're just going to keep pelting torpedoes. I almost said shells again there. They're just going to keep pelting torpedoes into the cap circle. So I think at this point I decided I've just got to take the risk. I've got to get up close and personal, and as long as I don't take a torpedo to the face, I should have the advantage. But it's that not taking a torpedo to the face bit that might be tricky. So here we go. knife fight range, and this is where it all gets a bit interesting when you're in a destroyer, but it's also where the American destroyers are at their best. Now, I'm going to put my torps out. He's probably going to dodge, but I'm more concerned about dodging his torps, and there they are. So that's one lot. I don't think he has any more. He's able to kill his speed and avoid mine, but look at this rate of fire. I can track him. He cannot track me with his guns. Don't have any torps for another 20 odd seconds, and just look at this pelting this guy. This guy's had it, and there we go. So that was what, 3 volleys in a row for like 2,500. So this is absolutely what the American destroyers are best at, when you can get up close and personal to another destroyer. But if you can smoke up and pelt somebody with lots of shells, that helps as well. So we've capped A. It's actually our Congo, who I think has just been keeping his distance the entire game. It's kind of worked out though, because the enemy's just capped C. But it really, like, even if we only had 1 cap circle, we are quite far ahead on points at this stage. So just pelting the enemy, the remaining enemy ships, is probably the order of business. They've only got 2 ships left now. Circon there with his 5th kill. This was a really good game for Circon. He had a Confederate devastating strike. You can actually see in the chat messages there. High caliber, another devastating strike, and a Kraken unleashed. Yes. I know Circon doesn't enjoy the pace of World of Warships that much, but when he does play it, every so often, I think it's literally every couple of months, he decides he's going to stream some Warships for a bit. He's not half bad. It's not that he doesn't play it because he's like, oh, I don't really enjoy this, or I suck at this game. There we go. Well, it would be fair to say he doesn't enjoy it that much. He likes it for a change of pace every so often, but not to play over and over. But yeah, it's not because he's bad at it by any means. He's actually a fairly decent player compared to, like, I've seen people with way more battles that are way worse at this than Circon. So anyway, there's that elusive kamikaze, and again, just hammering him over and over and over. This guy is pretty screwed. I am, however, about to run myself aground, which, if he's got torpedoes available, might be a bit of a bad thing. But one more shot and I've got him, and that's almost enough points for the win. There we go. So literally 4 more points, and there we go. We've won. So for me, that wasn't a bad game. 47k damage, only a couple of torpedo hits. Mostly it was gunfire, but I took out 2 enemy destroyers and I helped to take out a battleship as well. So it just wasn't bad, but Circon was definitely the star of the show. You can see all of his medals there. And of course, Yachty did pretty well also. He was 3rd place, so it was a nice 1-2-3 finish there. And I think if he hadn't pushed the middle when he had, if I'd been with him, he might have survived a bit longer. I'm not sure he would have survived per se, but the fact that he was there when he was, even if he was maybe a little ahead of where he needed to be, he put some pressure on the enemy team at a time when we needed to put pressure on the enemy team, even if it cost him his ship. So altogether, that was a very nice bit of division play. But yeah, Circon knows how to play warships. There you go. Today you learned. So there we are. As of at the moment, I am not that far from the Mayhan actually, and I'm debating whether to seriously go up the American destroyers as my next grind to the higher tiers. Although I don't know. I've only got so many credits, so the German battleships are looking rather tempting, and I'm slowly getting towards both the Zao and the Shimakaze as well. So I don't know. I might well end up getting the Japanese tier 10 destroyer before I get the American tier 10, because I'm rather further behind with the Americans. But of course there are some changes coming to the Japanese destroyer line, so we'll see how that affects things. I might decide to take a sideways jump and look at some of the new Japanese destroyers instead of just pushing on to tier 10 instead. So hopefully you've enjoyed this American gunboat action, and if you have, you can hit the like button. You can leave any comments below. You can sub to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, stay tuned for more.